I feel like Seven Husbands and Daisy Jones and Malibu Rising are such different writing styles compared to like her older books, which people were talking about sobbing over this book, and I did tear up and I did maybe cry once, but this book didn't have me sobbing like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That book had me dying. Jenkins Reid tells her most vulnerable emotional story yet. Will it be though? Let me just say he asked for permission to kiss her, which we love asking for consent. And if I had a guy tell me that was cute or laugh at me for it, goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. That, no. The Taylor Jenkins Reid, what were, like... Hello, book friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaylin, and I hope you guys are doing so lovely. Welcome to another reading vlog. I almost said a weekly reading vlog. This is a reading vlog that I've had planned for a while, and this is my Taylor Jenkins Reid reading vlog. So if you guys have been watching me on TikTok or on here for a while or since I've started, I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid is an author that I can confidently say is an auto-buy author. She is one of my favorite contemporary authors out there. I think she is a genius when it comes to her books. Her writing style just sucks you in. Literally anything she can write, she literally sucks you in and makes you like devour the book in one sitting. If you guys have never heard of Taylor Jenkins Reid and you're like, who, Kaylin, who is that? And I'm going to go over the books that she has written and all that fun jazz. Before we do that, I want to apologize for the way I sound. I'm currently fighting a cold. So, you know, but someone forgot to film an intro when she started this vlog. So, here we are, because that someone forgot to do it. Anyways, so in this vlog, I'm going to be reading the remainder of the backlist of her books that I have not read, and then her newest book, Kalreadsalot, is back because that is the only new release book I have not read of hers. And I only have two that I haven't read from her backlist, which is After I Do and Forever Interrupted, which I'll go over those in a second. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing, and at the end of this vlog, I will be ranking all of her books, in my opinion. So let's get into the books she has. Taylor Jenkins Reid actually has 8 books, and I believe she has 1 short story or novella. I should have researched that, but I know she has one of the two. I'm not going to be reading that book, so maybe I'm a liar of reading all her books, but you know. Yeah. So the first book she ever read was Forever Interrupted, and I have it on Kindle. I do not have the physical copy, so it's on Kindle. Now, I will say I'm not going to be going over the synopsis of this book. I'm not going to be going over the synopsis of these books. I will be doing that as I read them, and then at the end of the video, I will go over the synopsis of the books I didn't read in this video because I've already read them, but... And then the next one is After I Do. She released this in 2014. This is a book that I have not read yet, so you guys will be seeing me reading this and my thoughts on this book in this vlog. And then in 2015, she released Maybe in Another Life. I have read this already, so I will tell you my thoughts and the synopsis and all that at the end of the video. And then in 2016, she released One True Loves. I have read this already. If you can tell by my face, I love this book, but we'll save it for the end of the video. In 2017, she released The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I will tell you now, this is the first book I ever read from her, and this is what made me fall in love with her books. And then in 2019, she released Daisy Jones and the Six. I feel like this is the book she's most well known for. This and Evelyn Hugo. I have read this already, but... Daisy Jones. And then in 2021, she released Malibu Rising. Again, I've read this already. Her newest release that she released this year in 2022 is Kalreadsalot is back, and I have not read this book yet. So yeah, you guys, those are all of her books. I am going to let Past Kaylin take it away. Hi guys, I'm here to give an update. So I actually went with After I Do as my first Taylor Jenkins Reids backlist to start with, and this one I've actually been really curious about because it got a lot of love from Book Talk this past year, I believe, and it's been sitting on my shelf for like I think a year or two now, and I just haven't reached for it. But so when I started my YouTube channel, I knew I was going to do this video, so I've just held off. So now it's the time, and I picked this one first. And in this one, we're following Ryan and Lauren, who have been together since their freshman year of college, and they, date and they get married, and then they're about to turn 30, and their relationship is kind of falling apart. Both of them realize they're not really in love with each other anymore. They have love for each other, but they're not in love. Like, they're both at the point where they kind of just don't want to be around each other, and they have this big falling out, and they come to the conclusion, instead of getting divorced, they're going to take a year apart from each other, live separately, and then come back in a year and see if that love has come back, or if like it's gone forever. So I'm 100 pages in, and I'm really liking this, you guys. So this book reminds me of One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's in that era of her writing that's very like romance but contemporary. It's very easy to read. I feel like Seven Husbands and Daisy Jones and Malibu Rising are such different writing styles compared to like her older books, which granted, it's because, as the years go on and as her books go on, you get better and better and better, and you kind of find your flow with writing. But like this era of her writing, I really love. It's just what made me fall in love with her writing, and it's just so easy to read and get sucked into the story and just keep flipping the pages. I cannot tell you that I've already teared up so many times during this book. It's heartbreaking to see these characters who have so much love for each other, who have given each other everything, who have created this life, to slowly fall to love, because you get the opening chapter is of them at a Dodgers game, and they have this argument, and then the next chapter takes place when they first met, their first date, and then it kind of, you get chapters that carry on throughout the years, leading up to the same night of the Dodgers game, and then you see the relationship blossom, and then you kind of see where it falls apart and where things kind of become toxic, I guess, in a way, and see where they kind of question their love for each other, and it's just really sad to see. And the letter he wrote to her when she goes back to her house after he has moved out, I teared up. I was like, so yes, now I'm at the part where Lauren is officially in her year off, and she's kind of figuring out what to do to her. She's kind of figuring out what to do. Her 30th birthday is coming up, and her mom's throwing her this like big surprise party, and she hasn't told her mom about Ryan and her separating for the year. And her mom's like, invite Ryan, like, what are you doing? And her mom doesn't know that she knows about the surprise party, so Yeah, I feel like that would be me if that were to ever happen. I hope it never happens. But I am still single, so like, what am I talking about? But I feel like I would hide it from my mother, you know? But I don't know. I feel like she should have just been honest with her mom. But I don't know. I mean, everyone's different. I am really liking this book, which is great because all I want to do right now is binge Peaky Blinders. If you guys don't watch my weekly vlogs, which you should, I got into Peaky Blinders again. I've seen it before, but every time I've watched it, the first time I watched it with my ex, and I think we only saw 2 seasons of it, and I couldn't watch it after, the breakup. I just could not even think about watching it. And then I tried to watch it for the second time. And I did watch a lot of it, but I think I was just kind of not into it because I was thinking about, oh, I remember when I watched this with him and this is what was said and blah, blah, blah. So I didn't. The third time I watched it, I just had it on in the background. So now this is the first time I'm like officially sitting down and watching all of it. And I am so obsessed. I'm on season 4 when he gets glasses. Oh, Tommy Shelby. This has nothing to do with this video, and I am so sorry, but if you watch my weekly vlogs, this is how I am. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, the point is, I'm very glad this book is good because otherwise I'd be watching Peaky Blinders. So I'm going to go back to reading. I'm giving myself till 8 p.m. to read, and then I'm going to watch an episode of Peaky Blinders because that's how I'm going to do this week because I have a lot of reading to do. But anyways, that is all. I will be back when I have more updates. What a freaking day it's been. Hi. It is Tuesday, November 15th. If you are a fellow Swiftie, this is the day that the pre-sale went on sale. I was waitlisted. Thank you so much, Ticketmaster. And Capital One pre-sale was supposed to happen today. And I rushed around at work, was able to get time to kind of be on Ticketmaster for only them to cancel it and move it to tomorrow. And I'm freaking out because where my job is located, it's a very rural area, so like I don't get a lot of service out there, and I'm like, so you guys will know by this time tomorrow if I got tickets or not. But I'm really hoping I get tickets because like, if I don't get tickets, this will be the start of my villain origin story. Just letting you know. Anyways, this is not a weekly vlog. This is a Taylor Jenkins Reid vlog. I have come, don't know why there's a bookmark in it, because I have finished after I do. And I'm here to tell you my thoughts and my rating and all that goodness stuff. So I actually really liked this book. I'm going to give it a 3-star though, because felt like the same writing style as One True Loves, and I love One True Loves. One True Loves is like up there, which you guys will see at the end of the vlog, my ranking. But I did really enjoy this, just not as much as One True Loves. I feel like I didn't really like connect with it as much as I connected with One True Loves, because obviously this is about marriage and like what happens after marriage when you are no longer like happy in your marriage, and what does that mean and all that stuff. I've never been married. I've had one serious relationship in my life, so like, but it was nowhere near marriage, so I can't really relate to it. I don't know how that is, but I do know how it is when you realize you're in a relationship and you realize that that person no longer makes you happy and this is not what you want. I do realize how that is, but so I can relate to it a little bit, but not like the marriage part. But I did really like this. The family that's in this was such a great family. The dynamic between the family was honestly so heartwarming. They're all so close to each other, and Harriet, Lauren and her sister Rachel are like best friends, and they have a younger brother named Charlie who they are all very close with, and it was just really nice to read about that. And I don't know, and then their mom was so good, and then you have the grandma. I have never had a grandma in my life. Both of my parents' moms has passed away
one before I was even born, one when my mom was pregnant with me. So I don't know what it's like to have a grandma. I've never been close with any, like, of my grandparents. I have one remaining grandparent, but you know, I don't know what it's like to be close with them, so it's really nice to always read these stories where these characters are really close with their grandparents, and I just envision what that's like. And you know, so it was really nice to read about that. I did like how this story ended. I'm glad it ended the way it did. People were talking about sobbing over this book, and I did tear up, and I did maybe cry once, but this book didn't have me sobbing like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That book had me dying. Okay? But yeah, I still really like this. I'm giving it a 3-star. I did annotate it very loosely, not like I usually annotate. Like, let me show you. Seven Husbands. This is what... Can you guys even see that? No, because this light. Sorry. Okay, there you go. This is usually what an annotated copy looks like of one of her books for me. So this was very loosely annotated, still have some, but yeah. So now it has come to the time of the vlog where I decide what to read next. So we have Forever Interrupted, which is on my Kindle. And then we have Kalreadsalot is Back, which is her newest release. And I don't know which one I'm going to go with. This one I think is the longest out of all 3 of them. So maybe I will start this today, because then that way, like, Forever Interrupted I can knock out instead of reading this. So I think I'm going to go with Kalreadsalot is Back. I actually have no idea what this is about. I do know we follow the tennis player from Malibu Rising, but it's been a minute since reading Malibu Rising, so I don't particularly remember when this character comes into play in that story. But I will read the synopsis. Kalreadsalot is a fierce, and her determination to win at any cost has not made her popular. But by the time she retires from tennis, she is the best player the world has ever seen. She has shattered every record and claimed 20 slam titles, and if you ask Carrie, she is entitled to every one. She sacrificed nearly everything to become the best, with her father as her coach, Javier, a former champion himself, has trained her since the age of 2. But 6 years after her retirement, Carrie finds herself sitting in the stands of the 1994 U.S. Open. That was the year I was born. Watching her record being taken by a brutal, stunning British player named Nikki Chan. At 37 years old, Carrie makes the monumental decision to come out of retirement and be coached by her father for one last year in an attempt to reclaim her record. Even if the sports media says that they never like the battle axe anyways, even if her body doesn't move as fast as it did, even if it means swallowing her pride to train with a man she once almost opened her heart to, Bowie Huntley, like her, he has had something to prove before he gives up the game forever. In spite of it all, Kalreadsalot is back for one epic final season in this riveting and unforgettable novel. Taylor Jenkins Reids tells her most vulnerable, emotional story yet. Will it be though? Will it be though? Because you say that, but then you have The Seven Husbands, Evelyn Hugo. You say that, and you have Daisy Jones and the Six. So, like, will this be more emotional than these 2 books? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. So, I guess let's just jump right into it. I'm going to read for a little bit, like a teeny tiny bit, because I really want to watch Peaky Blinders, and I'm allowing myself from 8 to 10 to watch Peaky Blinders. So, let's just jump into this for maybe an hour, and I will come back with my first thoughts. Hi guys, I'm here with my first update of Kalreadsalot is Back.
I am officially 100 pages in. I am actually on page 106. And I wasn't sure how I was going to like this book because I'm not really a big tennis person. I'm going to be honest, I could care less about tennis. I've tried to play it. So going into this book, I was like, well, how is this going to work? How am I going to like it? I'm not really sure because of that. But Taylor Jenkins Reid, I swear to you, her writing can suck you in. She could write about the most boring thing in the world and it would be good. I'm convinced. So I'm really liking it. It's kind of interesting to learn about tennis because I'm going to be honest, I have no idea about tennis. I had no idea the points. I know, like, I just know they hit the ball back and forth and love is involved, which means it's like a 0. That's all I knew before going into this book. So that was my knowledge. And that is due to the Wii Sports. If you know, you know. So I'm basically at the part where Bowie comes into the story and is going to help Carrie or train with Carrie for her comeback. So yeah, but that's where I'm at in the book. That's all I wanted to say, that I am liking this book. I'm less scared now. I'm less worried that I'm not going to like it. Will I think this book be in my top 3? No. Because it's going to be pretty hard to beat out Evelyn Hugo, which I'm not saying what spot that's in. You're just going to have to wait till the end of the video, but I'm just saying that's going to be pretty hard to beat that book. So, we'll see. But I'm going to keep reading.
Hi guys. So it's been a couple days since I've spoken to you. Here's what happened. All my plans got derailed because my car, basically I had to replace the spark plugs in my car. I didn't find that out until I was about to head home from my parents to my house. So it was like Friday evening. It's okay, car's fine now, but like my whole entire like plans of reading and like this vlog had been like derailed because I don't know, I just had a day yesterday. It was just a day and I've been having this, it's a head cold. I don't know what it is. It's been kind of lingering. I've felt it Thursday, and then Friday, and then I woke up today and it was like, hey, how are you? I'm here. And I'm like, oh. So, I'm here with reading updates. Carrie Soto is back. I finished it, and I'm here to tell you guys my thoughts. This is the book I was scared to read the most. I was worried that I was not going to like it because it involves tennis, and I'm just not the biggest tennis person. I do enjoy sports. I played sports growing up. I played volleyball and soccer. I love watching football. I love watching baseball. Like, I love sports. Tennis has just always been the one sport that I like haven't really caught a vibe with, and it's because I really have no idea what goes on in tennis. Like, I don't understand the technical terms of it. After reading this book, I get it. But I actually ended up really liking this book, which shocked me. I think Taylor Jenkins Reid could literally write about the sand on a beach and make it interesting. That's just my opinion. But I love how she has connected all of her books, not all of her books, but from Seven Husbands, Daisy Jones, Malibu Rising, and now Carrie Soto, we see like past characters all in the books. Like somehow each book has like a past character from a book, and I really like that. Daisy Jones was mentioned in this book. She was reading a Daisy Jones and the Six like autobiography, I think, which is cool to see. And then we see Mick Riva in this, and like a little tiny bit from Malibu Rising. And Carrie Soto, we know from Malibu Rising as like a really like unlikable character, especially what she did. I'm not going to say what she did because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. So that's another reason why I was worried about this book. Carrie Soto is one of those characters that you kind of have to get past a whole wall to really know who they are. She puts up this wall and she's like really tough when it comes to tennis, and she's known as like the bitch in tennis. And when she like got past that, you see like, oh, she does have a soft spot. She just kind of just doesn't know how to show it, because from a young age, I mean, she lost her mother when she was a young age, and she saw her father, instead of like talking about it and like expressing his love and like all that, he kind of just shoved it away and never spoke about it again. And so she's kind of like adapted to that's how it is when you come to like show emotions and like love and all that. And she grew up always being told she will be the best tennis player in the world, like she'll beat all records, blah 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 blah. And so like she has that mentality, and you kind of see her go through the struggle of like, whoa, and her inner monologue, she struggles with that a lot, of wanting to be the best. And when someone beats her record, she's like so upset, instead of like being okay with her very successful career she had in tennis and beating so many records, but someone is taking her record, she wants to beat them. And that kind of like stems from her training as a young child, and her dad constantly being like, you're gonna be the best, like this is your destiny and all that, which nothing wrong with that. You kind of just see how it like affects her in her adult life. Childhood trauma. But also her and her dad have a very special relationship. Like Taylor Jenkins Reid always makes me cry in every single one of her books, and this book did not fail. I did cry in this book. I am struggling with what to rate this book. I've thought about it all morning, because I finished it this morning when I was eating breakfast, and I've like struggled about it. In my heart, it's not a 4-star read for me, I don't think. But then again, I feel bad for not giving it a 4-star read, because I love Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I think of her books that I haven't given 4 stars to, and I'm like, okay, well, this book is better than those books. So I think I am going to settle on a 4-star for this book. Just because, like I said, I think about the books that I rated below 4 stars of her books, and this one is definitely better than those. So this is a 4-star read for me. I love this book. It did not beat the emotional, what did it say it was going to be one of the most emotional? Oh, her most vulnerable emotional story yet. I don't think it did. I don't think it was. I think Evelyn Hugo is more emotional and vulnerable than this book. But I don't know. It's up to the person. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Next, I'm going to be reading Forever Interrupted, which is on my Kindle. Hold on. It's on my Kindle. So I'm going to be reading that. I don't exactly know how many pages are on this book. Let's see. Shall we see together? 322 pages is in Forever Interrupted. But I have a feeling I'm going to be reading it really fast, because I read faster on my Kindle. And this is her first book that she wrote. So that style, that era of writing for her, those books I fly through. It's very different writing style than from this book. So yes, I have a feeling I'll fly through it. I'm going to start it in a little bit. I just need to like chill out on the couch for a while, because I'm like not feeling great. But when I do have updates, I'll make sure to tell you guys. So I'll talk to you guys when that happens.
Hi guys, I'm going to film this clip really quickly because my battery is flashing at me. I'm forever not charging my batteries. So I am reading Forever Interrupted. I literally am going to start. I'm 19% into Forever Interrupted, and this is Taylor Jenkins Reid's first book she ever wrote. And in this one we're following Elise, who on New Year's Day she meets Ryan and they go for a date the next day and they instantly fall in love, and then they're married in May. And then a month later in June, Ryan gets hit by a car and passes away. And so that's kind of the premise of the book. We're following
their love story and how it started, but we're also following it in the future of like the day the accident happened and then every day after. So, you know, it is good. It's an easy read. It's kind of that writing style of Taylor Jenkins Reid that is her like One True Love's era writing style. Definitely can see a world of difference in writing from this book to Carrie Soto's back. Like, totally different writing style, but like you can still tell it's written by the same author. You can see the foundation of what her writing is to come when reading Forever Interrupted, which is kind of cool to see. So I'm really glad I read them like this. But yeah, I am liking this book. It has sucked me in. It's an easy read. So yeah, I am going to continue reading it. All I have to say for this book is like the first date they had, let me just say he asked for permission to kiss her, which we love asking for consent. And it was such a cute way he did it, in like a smooth, suave way, that it was just like, how could you not kiss him? I mean, if you don't, but like, how could you not? Anyways, I'm going to continue reading and I'll talk to you guys in a little. I just have to show you guys my dinner. So we got a salad with blue cheese dressing because yum. We got a cheeseburger that I toasted the bun in the pan I made the cheeseburger in, so it's going to be delicious. And then we have these homemade garlic parmesan fries. Yes, these are homemade. I don't do frozen fries. And then a Diet Coke on the side. And then on the TV, we have, do you see that? Do y'all see that? We have Peaky Blinders going. And I will talk to you guys later. I'm gonna go see my man, Tommy Shelby. Hi friends. So, if you can hear a plane taking off, it's my laptop. So I'm currently reading right here while I'm waiting for my video to finish exporting. But I got to this part in the book where I just got the biggest ick for the main love interest in this book, which his name is Ben, right? Yeah, his name is Ben. The biggest ick. I already wasn't really feeling this guy. Like, it was too good to be true. He was too lovey-dovey, like, right out of the gate. I didn't like it. I don't like that kind of stuff, so for me it was like instant love, and I did not like it at all, so I haven't really been feeling him. And this part just happened where Elise works at the library, and she goes in on Martin Luther King Day, which she's supposed to have it off, but she agreed to work to kind of help put back the library because it got, like, a certain section of the library got out of order. Anyways, so she's like, she hears the phone ringing, and mind you, the library is technically closed, so, like, she doesn't have to answer the phone or anything, so she runs to answer the phone. First off, why, if the library is closed, why are you answering the phone? Don't answer it. But she forgets, and she answered the phone, and she, like, stumbles over her words a little bit because she said she doesn't answer the phone, like, ever, but she just had this inkling, like, oh, I must answer the phone. That's another thing on that, you know. And she hears laughing, and it's Ben, and he makes fun of her for stumbling over her words. And he goes, "You're so cute." I don't like that. I don't like that. The biggest ick. I'm the type of person that I stumble over my words all the time, especially if I'm excited or if I'm nervous. Being nervous is a big one, but if I'm excited and really into something that I'm talking about, I'll stumble over my words because I'm just so excited and, like, I can't get it out fast enough, or, like, my brain's thinking faster than, like, I can get the words out. So I stumble over my words a lot. And if I had a guy tell me that was cute or laugh at me for it, goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. That, no, I don't like that. Definitely an ick of mine, and, like, the haha, you're so cute, that's an ick. And then the way he reacted, just, ew, go away. I would have immediately, actually, I wouldn't even gone for him. Like, they had an amazing first date, right? It was a very cute first date. I will say that, but it was too instant love. Like, literally, they went on a date the next day, and they're like, so, I don't want to move too fast, but, like, should we give it 5 weeks and act like we're really dating, and at the end of the 5 weeks, if we fizzle out, we go our separate ways? Just take it slow, get to know each other. There's no need to rush. Can you see that this book is not going as great as her other books? This I will say, if this was the first book I ever read of hers, I would not continue on with the rest of her books. I'm being honest because I'm not really liking this book at all, mainly because I just don't like Ben. And the whole premise of meeting in literally January and you're married by May, I think because I'm such a take my time getting to know someone, like it takes me months to know if I like a person, let alone want to marry them. Jesus. But like everyone says, you when you meet the one, you know. But like, no, because I'm such a picky person, like, and I'm such a planner. I need everything planned out. And if you're not, I can't just meet someone and be like, oh, in 6 months we'll see where I'm at. Like, no, like, I'm gonna go back to reading. I'm hoping to finish this today because technically I have 3 hours and 14 minutes left, which is only 4 o'clock, so it's very doable. If not today, I'll finish it tomorrow and we'll wrap this vlog up because I just want to get done with this vlog because I'm already running behind. Anyways, so I'll talk to you guys when I have more updates.
Okay, ignore the Diet Coke bottle. So I'm reading this book, right? And they are on a date, their third date. Please just keep that in mind. They've only known each other for literally 3 days, I think, 3 or 4 days. And, which, crazy that this is even happening. So they're on a date at this wine bar. Really cute, really chill. And he gets a phone call from a girl that he used to date. And he's like, oh, not a big deal. Like, she calls me from time to time, like, booty call, whatever. And Elise, gets flustered and gets mad about it. She's like, I just don't like the fact that she's calling you. Who are you to say who can call him and who can't call him? Y'all aren't, like, what? And she's like, in her inner monologue, she's like, that's someone who he slept with, that's someone who touched him, that's someone who made him laugh, da-da-da. Girl, you've only known him for 3 days. This is something I cannot stand. It's the insta love shit, and automatically I want to DNF this book because I just don't understand that mentality of meeting someone and then 3 days in you're like, oh, I'm in love. I don't understand it. Maybe because it's never happened to me. Okay, well, that's a big fat lie. I mean, I've met someone and I knew right away, oh, this person is going to be my life for a very long time. Like, I've had that feeling. I've had that feeling where you're like, oh, this person's it kind of vibes, but my feeling was wrong. Anyways, we're not going to dive into that. But, like, 3 days in of knowing this person, why are you acting crazy? I have literally, it said, my time jumped. It says I have 3 hours and 21 minutes. But that's because I've just had this thing, like, sitting here while I'm just watching. I'm honestly being distracted by a YouTube video. I should turn this off. But, like, I have 3 hours left, and I just want to, like, just be done with, like, I want to DNF this book, but I'm going to keep reading because it's for the video. But I think this is going to be my least favorite book of hers. I think so. Okay, I'm going to continue reading. Okay, so I went from not liking this book to hating this book. And I'm so sorry if you like this book, but the Taylor Jenkins Reid, what? This doesn't even seem like her book. But I guess that's what you get when you, like, you write books, like, you see the growth in writing, like I was saying earlier in one of the earlier clips. But okay, so basically this book has not only have insta love, which is my least favorite thing in the entire world. I cannot stand it. My brain does not understand that type of love. This is going to be a spoiler, so I'll put up a spoiler warning. But I just got to the 50% mark in this book, and they just had the funeral, and they all went back to Susan, which is Ben's mom's house, for, like, what is it called after a funeral? The gathering? What is it called after a funeral? You go to someone's house. I've never done that, so I don't know. I'm sure there's a word for it, and I just don't know it. Anyways, so they're there, and Elise overhears something, so she wants to leave. And so when she gets dropped off on her doorstep, there's the newspaper, and she looks at the date, and she's like, oh my God, it can't be that date because that means my period's late. And then the next page we go to a chapter that is set back in March, because they're currently in June. So back in March, and her and Ben just got done doing the deed, and they have a conversation about her Nuva ring and how it's like he can't feel it. And she's like, oh my God, what if it fell out? And then she goes, oh my God, and she has a second. And so she's freaking out. So she goes to the bathroom and she goes to feel it. And she's like, oh my God, I can't feel it. And first off, very plot convenient how they did the chapter in the future, how she like missed her period. And then the next chapter, the Nuva ring gets lost. And so anyways, so he's like, don't worry, like we can get the morning after pill, like blah, blah, blah. And abortion came up, which I'm not even going to get on that topic because I know it's a very sensitive topic. And anyways, they go on that, and then she says, oh, I could never do that. And that right there, I'm like, we all have our opinions, Kaylin. It's okay. But at the same time, I'm thinking logically, like, you guys have only known each other since January, and you just, literally right after they said, oh, no, can't do that, they just said, we aren't ready to be parents. And there are other options, I know that, but I'm just like, what the, so this is the moment where I'm like, I'm done with this book, right? I'm done. Honest to God, I want to DNF this book because I don't care what happens for the rest of this book. I don't, but I also have only 2 hours left in reading this, so I'm like, do I just carry on and suck it up and see what I really think? But I can confidently say this is my least favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book because none of her other books have made me feel this angry at all. Like, I've all loved her other books. I mean, yeah, some things in them I didn't like, but like not like this. So anyways, I'm gonna keep on reading.
It is coming to that point in the vlog where I end it, tell you guys my rankings, and all that fun jazz. So before we do that, let me get into all of her books, and I'll give you guys a synopsis of each one, and then we'll get into the rankings in my opinion. The first book is Forever Interrupted, and this was actually the latest book I read from her. This one is After I Do, and this one was released in 2014. And the next book she wrote was Maybe Another Life, and she wrote this in 2015. And this one, let me read the synopsis. At the age of 29, Hannah Martin still has no idea what she wants to do with her life. She has lived in 6 different cities and has held countless meaningless jobs since college. But on the heels of a disastrous breakup, she has finally returned to her hometown of Los Angeles. To celebrate her first night back, her best friend Gabby takes Hannah out to a bar where she bumps into her high school boyfriend Ethan. It's just past midnight when Gabby asks Hannah if she's ready to go. Ethan quickly offers to give her a ride later if she wants to stay. Hannah hesitates. What happens if she leaves with Gabby? What happens if she leaves with Ethan? In concurrent storylines, Hannah lives out the effects of each decision. Quickly, these parallel universe develops into surprisingly different stories with far-reaching consequences for Hannah and the people around her, raising questions including, is anything meant to be? How much in our lives is determined by chance? And perhaps most compelling, is there such a thing as a soulmate? Hannah believes there is, and in both worlds she believes she's found him. And in 2016, she releases One True Loves, and in this one, we follow Emma Blair, who is in her 20s, and she marries her high school sweetheart, Jess. They build a life for themselves far away from expectations of their parents and the people of their hometown in Massachusetts. They travel the world together, Emma as a freelance writer, Jesse as a production assistant on nature documentaries, living life to the fullest and seizing every opportunity for advantage. On their wedding anniversary, Jesse is on an assignment in the Aleutian Islands when his helicopter goes missing over the Pacific. Just like that, Jesse is gone forever. Emma quits her job, moves home in an effort to put her life back together. Years later, now in her 30s, Emma runs into an old friend, Sam, and finds herself falling in love again. When Emma and Sam get engaged, it feels like Emma's second chance at happiness. That is until Jesse is found. He's alive, and he's been trying to come home to her all these years. Emma now has a husband and a fiancé, but who is her one true love? And what does it mean to love truly? Emma knows she has to listen to her heart, and she's not sure of what it is saying. This is what it's like filming with a cat. Sorry, I had to get my cat because my cat was being a menace and was being so loud. I don't know what he wants because I just fed him, but I had to get him because he was being loud and I need to finish this. So, where were we? Oh, yes. The next book she wrote was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and this book she released in 2017. I believe this is one of her most known novels, that and Daisy Jones. So I'm going to read the synopsis because even though I know what this book is about, like the back of my hand, I don't want to do it any injustice. So, Hollywood icon Evelyn Hugo is finally ready to tell the truth about her glamorous and scandalous life. But when she chooses unknown magazine reporter Monique Grant to write her story, no one is more astounded than Monique herself. Determined to use this opportunity to jumpstart her career, Monique listens in fascination, from making her way to Los Angeles in the 1950s to leaving show business in the 80s, and of course, the seven husbands along the way. Evelyn unspools a tale of ruthless ambition, unexpected friendship, and a great forbidden love. But as Evelyn's story nears its conclusion, it becomes clear that her life intersects with Monique's own in a tragic way. In 2018, she wrote the short story Evidence of the Affair. I did not read this one, so I can't honestly say I've read all her books, but I've read all of her novels. And then in 2019, she released Daisy Jones and the Six. Daisy's a girl coming of age in LA in the late 60s, sneaking into clubs on the Sunset Strip, sleeping with rock stars, and dreaming of singing at the Whiskey A Go-Go. The sex and drugs are thrilling, but it's the rock and roll she loves most. By the time she's 20, her voice is getting noticed, and she is the kind of headless beauty that makes people do crazy things. Also getting noticed is the Six, a band led by the brooding Billy Dunn. On the eve of their first tour, his girlfriend Camila finds out she's pregnant, and with the pressure of impending fatherhood and fame, Billy goes a little wild on the road. Daisy and Billy cross paths when a producer realizes that the key to supercharged success is to put the two together. What happens next will become the stuff of legend. The making of the legend is chronicled in this riveting and unforgettable novel, written as an oral history of one of the biggest bands of the 70s. And then in 2020, she released Malibu Rising. Malibu, August 1983. It's the day of Nina Riba's annual end of summer party, and anticipation is at a fever pitch. Everyone wants to be around the famous Ribas. Nina, the talented surfer and supermodel, brothers Jay and Hud, one a champion surfer, the other a renowned photographer, and their adored baby sister Kit. Together, the siblings are a source of fascination in Malibu and the world over, especially as the offspring of legendary singer Mick Riba. The only person not looking forward to the end of the year party is Nina herself, who never wanted to be the center of attention, and has also just been very publicly abandoned by her pro tennis player husband. Oh, and maybe Hud, because it is long past time for him to confess something to the brother from whom he's been inseparable since birth. Jay, on the other hand, is counting the minutes until nightfall, when the girl he can't stop thinking about promised she'll be there, and Kit has a couple of secrets of her own, including a guest she invited without consulting anyone. By midnight, the party will completely be out of control. By morning, the River Manson will be gone up in flames. But before the first spark, in the early hours before dawn, the alcohol will flow, the music will play, and the loves and secrets that shaped this family generations will all come rising to the surface. And then her latest release is Carrie Soto is Back. Okay, that is her entire backlist. So a little bit about me and my relationship with Taylor Jenkins Reid is I first read her book. So the first book I ever read from Taylor Jenkins Reid was The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I actually listened to this on audiobook about, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago. Fell in love with it, and I needed more from her, and so I just went on this journey to read her entire backlist. It's taken me a minute, but we're finally there. I'm finally caught up, and actually this is the first author that I'm completely caught up on all their books, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I ended up loving this book when I read it on Audible, needed more of it, so the second book I read from Taylor Jenkins was Daisy Jones and the Six, and I did listen to this on audio. Also, the first time around, I was in my audio phase. I'm still like the audiobook phase, but that is what I listen to these because I was at the height of my busy time at work. I was working alone, so audiobooks really helped me get through my day and kind of not think about the stress I have and kind of focus on the book. And then I went on to read One True Loves, I believe, and then Malibu Rising, and then maybe in another life, after I do, Carrie Soto is Back, and then Forever Interrupted.
So let's get on to the ranking, and I will tell you kind of my thoughts about the books. So there's 8 book total. So at number 8, I am going to have to go with Forever Interrupted. So I gave Forever Interrupted a 1 star. Reason being is because I just didn't vibe with either of the characters. I really did not like Ben. Ben to me was a very toxic character, from showing up at her work to making fun of her for stumbling over her words, to just, I think honestly he gaslit her a little bit, and he was just too like lovey-dovey right out of the gate, and it was just like, ooh, no. So at number 8, Forever Interrupted is sitting. At number 7, I'm gonna have to go with Maybe in Another Life. Again, it was the writing for this. It was just way too, like, honestly cringe. I mean, it was a little better than Forever Interrupted, but it was just cringe, and I think I rated this one a 3 star, but looking back, I think it deserves a 2 star, but that's okay. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people really like this book. It just didn't vibe with me. At number 6 is going to be After I Do. Again, a lot of people love this book, especially on TikTok, but, you know, I mean, you saw me read this book, and I really did like a lot of things about this book, but I don't know, it had me, and then it lost me. It was really easy to read. It was for sure a lot better than Forever Interrupted and Maybe in Another Life, but it's still just like, I think because I've read her other books, like her newer books, I know what she can write, and so reading this, I'm like, whoa, is this the same author? But, you know, so I give this book a 3 star. Coming in at number 5 is Kalreadsalot is Back. Reason being, well, 1, I gave it a 4 star, so it wasn't a bad book at all. There are other books of hers that I love more than this. It was the whole tennis aspect of it. I don't really care for tennis, so I couldn't really connect with it. This character, Carrie, we saw in Malibu Rising, and we know her as this villain character, but it was kind of really nice to see her as not the villain. I mean, she still is I think she's a very unlikable character to some people. You have to get past this wall that she's built up to really get to know her, and I feel like that's what this book did, is we were able to see past those walls eventually, and, you know, she is a nice character then, but I think overall she's such a very unlikable character. I mean, her name in tennis is the bitch, so, but I will give it to her. Props to her for playing tennis and, like, smashing it and being so good. Her relationship with her dad, though, I loved. It was so heartwarming, and just, I don't know, I just loved it because I have such a close relationship with my dad and my mom. Like, both my parents, I have a really close relationship. So, especially with dad, I think it's just the daughter thing. Like, your father, your relationship with your father, I think, is a very important relationship in a daughter's life. So, I don't know, just seeing any book that has the father-daughter elements where they have their relationship and it's a good relationship, and, you know, it does something to me, okay? Coming in at number 4 is Malibu Rising. This book, I rated it a 5 star, I believe. Hold on, let me double check though, because I think I did rate it. I think all these next books are 5-star books. No, okay, so I actually rated this a 4 star. I could not put this book down. I could read this book in one sitting. I mean, it takes place over 24 hours. You do get a couple past chapters of their father and their mother, like how they met and all that, but pretty much you are set in the 24-hour period. I just really like the siblings. Honest to God, I would love to see a book about Kit. I really want a Kit book so bad. But I thought this is a pretty solid book. I think this is a really perfect book to read in the summer too. I mean, it takes place in Malibu. To read this on the beach would be perfection. But yeah, number 4 is Malibu Rising. Now, the top 3 books, if you've been keeping track of all our books, you know what they are. You don't know what order, but you know they're in my top 3. I will have to say the books that were number 1 and number 2 were easy decisions for me. The number 3 book was the hardest, and the rest of the order was the hardest. Like, the middle chunk of the books were very hard to figure out what order I was going to put them in. But I got down to it, and at number 3, we are going to go with One True Loves.
I think what it is about this book is I read it at the right time, and this was her last book before she, I think, like, really her writing style became what it is today. And I think that's why I liked it so much, because it is kind of similar to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and that kind of writing style. And I just thought the premise of, like, being married and then, like, after thinking your husband is dead and mourning that and then being able to move on and him come back, it's like, whoa, this book will get you. I cried so hard in this book, and I think there was a lot of things in this book that I needed to hear at the right time, because I was going through a breakup when I read this book, so it was very much a needed read for me. And so this book is number 3, and this book will always hold a special place in my heart. For number 2 is going to have to be Daisy Jones and the Six. I mean, this book, how could it not be a number 2 spot or number 1? If you are rating Daisy Jones in the either first 2 slots of your ranking when you rank her books, you're wrong. I'm so sorry, but you're wrong. This book, how she wrote this book is genius. It's an interview style, and it's just so good. This book, especially if you're fans of Fleetwood Mac in that era, definitely check this book out. It's so good, and I cannot wait for the TV show to come out. Like, and then the forbidden love, like, you shouldn't love that person, but you do, but you know it's wrong. Oh my god, it's so good, and I would pay so much money to be able to read this book for the first time again. I have read this book twice. It was even better the second time I read it because I read it physically and I was able to annotate it. You probably can't see it. Gave this book a 5-star. This is my number 2 book. So for the book that I rate number 1 in my ranking is Evelyn Hugo. I mean, no surprise if you've watched my channel. If you watched me on TikTok, I rave about this book so much. It probably needs to be tattooed on my body somewhere. The fact that this was my first book I read of hers and that it was just so good and had me, this was really the first book that had me sobbing my eyes out. And I think because of that, I will forever love this book. And it's just like the story between her relationships, and then, like, oh my god, I just don't know what to say about this book without being like, it's so good. I feel like if you guys have not read any of Taylor Jenkins Reid books and you just happen to stumble upon this video, hi, welcome, I'm so glad you're here. Make sure to subscribe. I would maybe start with this book because this book is so good, but then again, it's so good that if you read this, the rest of her books, I don't know though. The rest of her books may not go as well for you if you read this book or read Daisy Jones. I don't know. I'm just blubbering on. My battery's flashing at me, so hold on, I need to change my battery. I just don't know what else I could say about this book other than it's brilliant and it's amazing and it's incredible. I feel like this book is a book for everyone to read and get sucked into, and this was a 5-star, of course, and this is my number 1. I feel like with Taylor Jenkins Reid, too, her books are meant to be sit and just read in one sitting because they're just so good. But yeah, you guys, those are my rankings of all of my Taylor Jenkins Reid books. If you guys have read all her books and you guys have them ranked, tell me your rankings down below because I would love to know. And that brings us to the end of this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe because I would love to have you here. If you don't already, follow me on my social medias. They are always linked down below for you guys. Also, there are some links to support my channel if you want. You don't have to, no pressure at all, but they are down there. And I will catch you guys in my next video.